Welcome to Grace Daily Motivation. Today we are going to talk about an important and often debated topic in Christianity, the role of women in the church. The question of what women are allowed to do and what their role should be has been a topic of discussion for centuries. In this video, we will explore what the Bible has to say about the role of women in Christianity. Women in the Bible. Women in the Bible played a significant role in the history of Christianity. Although the Bible was largely written by men and reflects the patriarchal societies in which it was written, women are mentioned throughout the Bible in various roles. From the Old Testament, we have the story of Esther, who saved the Jewish people from annihilation, Deborah, who was a prophet and judge, and Ruth, who showed great loyalty to her mother-in-law and ultimately became part of the lineage of Jesus. In the New Testament, we have Mary, the mother of Jesus, who is venerated by Catholics and Orthodox Christians, Mary Magdalene, who was a close follower of Jesus and was the first person to see the resurrected Jesus, and Lydia, who was one of the first converts to Christianity in Europe. Women in the early church. In the early church, women played an important role in the community and were highly valued for their contributions to the growth and spread of Christianity. Despite the patriarchal nature of society at the time, women were active participants in worship and ministry, and many of them served as leaders in the church. The New Testament mentions several women who were leaders in the early church. For example, Phoebe is described as a deaconess in the church at Cenchrea in Romans 16:1-2. Priscilla and her husband Aquila are mentioned several times in the New Testament as fellow workers with Paul in spreading the gospel, Acts 18:2, 18:26, Romans 16:3-5. Mary, the mother of John Mark, is mentioned in Acts 12:12 as a leader in the early church in Jerusalem. Overall, women in the early church were highly respected and valued for their contributions to the growth and spread of Christianity. Despite societal norms and expectations, women were active participants in worship and ministry and played an important role in the development of the early church. Women in leadership. The issue of women in leadership is a topic of controversy within Christianity. Some believe that women should not hold leadership positions in the church, while others believe that women can serve in any role that men can. Proponents of the former view point to certain verses in the Bible that seem to suggest that women should not have authority over men. For example, 1 Timothy 2:12 states, "I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet." Some interpret this verse as prohibiting women from serving in leadership roles in the church. The creation of woman. The creation of woman refers to the account of how God created Eve, the first woman, in the book of Genesis in the Bible. According to Genesis 2:18-23, God created Eve as a helper for Adam, the first man. The passage describes how God saw that Adam was alone and needed a suitable partner, so he caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep and took one of his ribs to create Eve. Adam then recognizes Eve as a companion and calls her woman because she was taken out of man. The creation of woman has been interpreted in different ways. Some interpret the passage as indicating that women are subordinate to men, and that men are the leaders in relationships and in the church. Others argue that this interpretation is based on a misunderstanding of the word helper, and that it actually indicates a position of strength and support. Jesus and women. Jesus' treatment of women was unusual for his time. He interacted with women in ways that challenged social norms and affirmed their value. He treated them with respect and dignity, which was not typical of the culture of the time. Jesus had many conversations with women, even those who were considered social outcasts. For example, he spoke with the Samaritan woman at the well, who was a member of a group that was looked down upon by Jews. He also healed the woman who had been bleeding for 12 years, despite the cultural belief that menstruating women were unclean. Overall, Jesus' treatment of women in the Bible set an example for how women should be treated and valued in society. His actions and teachings affirmed the worth of all people, regardless of their gender, social status, or background. Paul's teachings on women. The Apostle Paul's teachings on women have been a topic of controversy and debate for centuries. Some of his letters suggest that women should remain silent in the church and not have authority over men, while other passages indicate that women were actively involved in ministry and leadership. In 1 Corinthians 14:34-35, Paul wrote, "Women should remain silent in the churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission. As the law says, if they want to inquire about something, they should ask their own husbands at home. For it is disgraceful for a woman to speak in the church." Some interpret this passage to mean that women should not speak in church or hold leadership positions. However, others argue that this passage was addressing a specific issue in the Corinthian church and should not be applied universally. In 1 Timothy 2:11-12, Paul wrote, "A woman should learn in quietness and full submission. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet." This passage is often cited to argue against women holding leadership positions in the church. However, it is important to note that the context of the letter suggests that Paul may have been addressing a specific issue in the church at Ephesus. Women in ministry. Women have always played a significant role in ministry, and many have made important contributions to the church throughout history. Despite some controversy and debate, women have served as missionaries, pastors, teachers, and evangelists, and have led in various other capacities in the church. In the early church, women were active participants in worship and ministry, and many of them served as leaders in the church. Phoebe, for example, was a deaconess in the church at Cenchreae, and Junia was noted as an apostle in Romans 16-7. Many other women in the Bible, such as Deborah, Esther, Mary Magdalene, and Lydia, also played important roles in spreading the gospel and serving God. Women in marriage. In the Bible, there are specific instructions for husbands and wives regarding their roles in marriage. These roles are outlined in several passages, including Ephesians 5:22-33 and Colossians 3:18-19. Ephesians 5:22-33 instructs wives to submit to their husbands, while husbands are called to love their wives as Christ loved the church. The passage also says that wives should respect their husbands, and that husbands should give honor to their wives. The passage has been interpreted in different ways. Some interpret the passage to mean that wives should be subservient to their husbands, while others interpret it to mean that husbands and wives should serve and love each other equally. Some argue that the passage is specific to the cultural context in which it was written and may not apply universally. Colossians 3:18-19 similarly instructs wives to submit to their husbands, and for husbands to love their wives and not be harsh with them. Overall, the Bible teaches that marriage is a partnership between a husband and wife. Both have specific roles to play, but they are meant to complement and serve each other in love and respect. Equality of men and women. Despite the different interpretations of some Bible verses, Christianity teaches that men and women are equal in the eyes of God. Galatians 3:28 says, "There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." This verse affirms that all believers, regardless of gender, are equal in Christ. Women's empowerment. The empowerment of women is an important topic in Christianity, and many churches and organizations work towards empowering women to fulfill their God-given potential. Empowered women can make a significant impact in their communities and the world. When women are given equal opportunities and access to education and resources, they can contribute to society and serve God in powerful ways. In conclusion, the role of women in Christianity has been a topic of debate for centuries. While there are differing interpretations of some Bible verses, it is clear that women have played and continue to play an important role in the church and in spreading the gospel. Women have been leaders, missionaries, teachers, and evangelists, and their contributions have been invaluable. We should strive to empower and support women in their callings and work towards gender equality in the church and society. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video on Grace Daily Motivation.